Canada is launching a major charm offensive in Mexico. Hundreds of Canadian businesses are part of an expansive trade mission. It is meant to enhance ties there and relations with the U.S. fray. The CBC's Jorge Barrera is on this story for us. He joins us live from Mexico City. Jorge, hundreds of businesses accompanying Dominic LeBlanc to this mission. Not something you typically see, not really business as usual. How important is this mission for Canada?
Well, they're calling this the biggest or one of the biggest bilateral trade missions ever in the history of the country. And as you were saying, these numbers speak to that. 240 companies and organizations, 300 delegates. We've been told there's a total of about 400 Canadian businesses participating in this because there's already a Canadian business presence here. And people are here to do deals. We're told that there's almost 2,000 business-to-business meetings already set for this week for this trade mission, which is not only in Mexico City, but in Monterrey and Guadalajara. So there's a lot of activity happening. And also the Business Council of Canada signed an MOU this morning at the launch of this trade mission with their Mexican counterpart. And I actually have CEO and President Goldie Hyder here to speak about that. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us. Just tell us a little bit about this MOU, what it means, and the importance of this trade mission.
Well, look, the tone is set at the top at a political level. It was great to see Prime Minister Carney and President Sheinbaum establish a comprehensive strategic partnership. Now the tone has to be set on the business side, and the CEOs are very committed to this bilateral relationship. It forms a foundation. It's key to our diversification strategy, but we also believe very strongly in the trilateral relationship, and our MOU today is about confirming both of those and ensuring that the CEO dialogues that we've been established continue through all of the future, not just about when there's a need, but even when there's no need to keep going.
And what does success look like on Friday, on Saturday?
Yeah. Well, look, success is what I'm witnessing right now. I've been here in Mexico numerous times. We've invested a lot of time in this bilateral relationship, and to see the energy, to feel the energy, to see the momentum, to see the businesses with their eyes wide open, looking at the opportunities that are here, not just in Mexico, but also it's important to reiterate the opportunities in Canada. And for business leaders, particularly those of us who work for the large companies, it's a chance to remind our governments that, money follows message. We've got to make sure we create a competitive environment. We do need that trade agreement to be reviewed and renewed because it gives us stability and predictability in an environment in which certainty is so hard to come by.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right. And Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc also spoke at the launch of this trade mission, and he discussed the security relationship between Canada and Mexico, and he said that the RCMP was planning to increase its presence at the embassy here in Mexico City. Deanna?
Jorge, but I want to ask you about what the Mexican officials are saying as well. I had a chance to speak to a former Mexican ambassador to Canada who said that this is so important because under the previous CUSMAs, really all the focus was on Mexico relationship to the U.S. and U.S. relationship to Canada, but not really about how Canada and Mexico can really benefit from this trade relationship. What are you hearing from the Mexican officials?
Well, the Secretary of the Economy, Marcelo Ebrard, also spoke this morning, and he spoke to reporters afterwards, and he reiterated the importance that CUSMA and what they call here TEMEC is, the trilateral trade agreement between Canada, U.S. and Mexico is. And he also talked about how it was important to continue to integrate supply chains between Canada and Mexico. Here's a little bit of what Ebrard told reporters just a few minutes ago.
It's more important for U.S. and for us and Canada too, the very high level of integration between our economies. I mean, the wise thing to do is to avoid costs between us. So the USMCA is a better possibility for the United States in the first place, and also for Mexico and Canada.
Ebrard also spoke about how the importance of critical minerals for both Canada and Mexico. Canada has a big presence here in the mining sector, and Ebrard said that Mexico wants to develop its ability to process these critical minerals and is looking to Canada to help them with that. Deanna?
Thanks so much for that, Jorge. That's the CBC's Jorge Barrera in Mexico City. For more on just how high the stakes are for this mission, we reached out to Juan Jos Gmez Camacho. He is Mexico's former ambassador to Canada, and I asked him how big of an opportunity this is for both Canada and Mexico.
I feel very excited. I think that even in my times as ambassador of Mexico there and over the years, we all were trying and hoping to engage in a more stronger way both countries, one with the other, economically, politically, socially, investment-wise, trade-wise. So this visit represents in many ways the jewel of the crown. And I have to say that since Prime Minister Carney took office, the energy that Canada has devoting to Mexico, the proactiveness with which is approaching Mexico, I have to say is phenomenal. And I'm very happy that Mexico is reciprocating. And in that sense, this visit is just not only exceptional in that sense, but it opens enormous opportunities for both countries, which are so much needed now. Mexico is a country of 130 million people, an emerging country, the biggest trading partner of the U.S., of course, but not only that, it's a market in itself and is access also to other markets like Latin America. So regardless of where we are politically now, regardless of the U.S., regardless of the CUSMA renegotiations that obviously are very important, Mexico makes sense for Canadian investors. And a stronger Canada-Mexico relationship makes a lot of sense for companies in both sides. So the fact, again, that Canada is doing this massive trip to Mexico led by Minister LeBlanc is a recognition of that, of the business opportunity.
Juan Jos Gmez Camacho is Mexico's former ambassador to Canada.